Welcome back to the Momma Fit Podcast. Today, I'm talking about motivation. I'm here to motivate you out of your COVID funk. If you're there. Motivation is central to our creativity, productivity, and happiness. So we need to get there, you guys. Motivation is what causes us to act. When we act, we create movement, growth, and change. We feel involved, masterful, and significant. We feel powerful through experiencing how we change the world, and we create more of what we love in our lives. And all of this gives our lives purpose and happiness. So why would we want this, right? I know during COVID, well, we're still in the midst of this crazy time. Some of us have lost our mojo, and most are seeking this motivation and want to get going on the goals and the life that we want to live and create. To bring more purpose to our lives, I'm giving you some extra motivation today in this topic. I hope this helps you and gives you some more advice on how to inspire others and yourself to get more motivated.
This is the Momma Fit Podcast. This podcast is dedicated to all those mamas out there that want to fit a workout in a day, or want to fit in a moment of bliss, or hey, you want to fit into those skinny jeans. Dana Dieters is the host of Momma Fit Podcast. She's a mother of two beautiful girls, a wife, and entrepreneur. Her passion became her profession when she had a wake-up call about 15 years ago. With the support of others and a positive attitude, she was able to overcome the hurdles in her life. This mama strives to wake up and conquer each day to make it better than the day before. Her passion for business and education to others is what drives this mama to be the best version of Momma Fit. With Dana's background, she hopes to help you with your business, health and fitness needs, family time in the kitchen, and give you motivation and inspiration to tackle your day. And most importantly, to help you fit in your Momma Fit time.
All right, some of the reasons we have lost our motivation. One is fear. That is the biggest one. When you're afraid, even when you're entering a territory that you've chosen to move into, a part of us are very determined to avoid going forward because fear slows us down. It makes you hesitant, careful, which can be super beneficial for us, but sometimes your fears are based on your imagination rather than the accurate assessment of the risk in your reality. So if your fear is big enough, even when you're so excited to go forward, the part of you that wants to keep you safe can actually successfully prevent you from going forward into that territory you both desire and will keep you safe. So how do you get there? How do you move past this and be motivated? That is a question. You need to deal with that fear. So what I want you to do is start naming your fears so they're out in the open. And remember to say a gentle thank you to those fears. Because after all, they're trying to protect you. Then question your fears. Why am I afraid of that happening? And then what are the chances that would actually happen? Some of your fears will slip away now. What I want you to do is look at your fears that are left. What are they telling you about your research you need to do, the gaps you need to fill, and the risk strategies you need to put in place? You want to honor that wisdom by building it into your plan. So finally consider breaking down changes into a smaller step and focusing on just a few small steps. This will calm your fears down. All right, we talked about the wrong goals. Now, lack of clarity is our next step in that unmotivated and trying to find out what we need to do. These two kind of go together, I'm going to be honest. When we haven't consciously and clearly articulated what we want, our picture of our future can be very vague. We like to be familiar, so we resist what's unfamiliar and vague, and we stay and we recreate that same familiar to us. If you are not clear about what you want to create, then it makes sense that you'll lack that motivation because you'd rather stay in that current familiar reality. So how do we get through that? So if we try to create something that's different from what we are experiencing. It's not enough just to know what we don't want. You need to know what you do want, and you need to be articulate and clear about that specific vision of what we want to create so that you can become familiar with that new outcome and feel comfortable moving forward. It does take some time to articulate what you want and why you want it. Again, these kind of go together with that wrong goals, because if you are not clear with your goal and you don't know what you want from it and you don't feel that passion and that inspired creativity from this, it might be not what you need, and it might not be what you want, and it could be your wrong goal. So I like how these two kind of come together, because that lack of clarity, one, you need when you start any type of goal and you feel motivated. It makes you feel inspired. You know what you want. You just need to move forward with it. Every step of the way is going to be a little difficult. It's going to be uncomfortable because you are stepping into the unknown. And that is okay. Everything is an unknown when you start something new. And that is okay, but you have to push through it unless it's not the right goal and you're comparing yourself to someone else's goal. Like, you don't need to do that. Do what feels good for you. And that's why you need to get that clarity when you are putting that goal together. All right, let's talk about our values. Our values are what are really important to us. If you have a value conflict, which is two or more values that are very important to you, but you believe that you can't satisfy all of those values in a particular situation. So the situation causes you to feel conflicted and pulled in different directions as you find ways to get what's important to you. You might even have a brief spurt of motivation to work on in something that maybe you lose motivation and start working on something else, or your motivation might dry up altogether because the effort of dealing with an internal conflict quickly tires you out and saps your energy. Adrenal fatigue right here. Not kidding. This has happened to me a few times. So how do you actually figure this out? So to actually figure out your value conflict, you have to play the mediator. You have to get the parts of you that are advocating for different values to play on the same team again. Start with acknowledging that internal conflict. Ways to do this. This is something I do. Grab a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. So you have two columns. Write about two different directions you feel pulled in, one on each, and summarize it with a statement of which part wants. Okay, so after that, what I want you to do is pick one column and chunk it up and ask these questions. Why does this part want that? Another question, what does it hope to get as an end result of having that? So what I want you to do is keep asking these questions, writing down your answers until you feel that you have hit on the result that you want, ultimately the best answer. Now do the same for the other part and notice when you get to that level where the answers in two columns are the same. So ultimately, all the parts you always want are the same thing. Basically, because they're all of you. You're the one that's answering these. These are what you want. Now that you know what you really want, you can evaluate the strategies that each part has been advocating for you to decide which strategy would work best. So often, once you're clear on what you really want, you spot new strategies for getting it to you that you haven't even noticed before. So sometimes you have to break down these little steps to basically figure out how to get there, and writing it down makes a big difference. Sometimes by just doing this exercise, you'll find ways to satisfy all of these values, but sometimes it's not possible. So if you have taken the time to think through your values and you've consciously chosen to prioritize a particular value over other values for a while, this clarity will ease the internal conflict and your motivation will certainly return. All right, the next one I want to talk about is the lack of challenge. I feel like a challenge is another crucial ingredient for motivation, and I would be absolutely one of them. I need to master new skills. I need constantly be challenged. I get really bored if I don't have something to keep myself going. So without challenges, I feel like it is something that puts me down a wrong path. I certainly need to keep learning new things. I need to be growing somehow. And I feel like sometimes when you're already in that unmotivated state, the last thing you want to do is challenge yourself. But that is like the best way to do it. So one thing and how to do this is review your goals and projects that you have been working on. Are they challenging for you? Are they going to require you to grow in order to achieve them? Or are you treading water in your comfort zone? Doing only things that you know you can do is a little bit tricky. It's easy, but we also really, really, really want to focus on growth. What can you learn from a new experience? It is not about how scary it is. Take away the fear, take away that comfort zone, and focus more on what can you learn. The new things can be very exciting that you're going to be doing, and get that excitement going by tweaking your goals to make them a little bit more challenging. Take on projects that will require you to grow and find new things to learn that will stimulate yourself. All right, so let's talk about COVID, and our emotions all basically were surrounded by the word grief. At the beginning of this change, we all probably went through the same kind of feeling. The grieving of not being able to see people and be even at work in a workplace, or going out with friends or seeing family members, the confusion, self-doubt, the mistrust in the world, the feelings of all these feelings of loss are very common symptoms. And the bigger the change which we've had, the more powerful these symptoms are. And sometimes we can even go through a little depression and social withdrawal, which, for one, social withdrawal is completely what we have been doing. We can't even go and see people unless it's on Zoom. Let's just be honest. With all this grieving and fearing and the feeling of loss that go on with this phase, it's totally normal for your motivation to dry up. And I really feel that with people, especially some of my clients, they've had a hard time. So how do we get motivated again? One, we need to take one day at a time and go easy on ourselves. We need to give ourselves a lot of space for nurturing and reflection. Look after your body with good rest, food, exercise, express your grief, confusion, and fears with people who can actually listen lovingly. Spend time in nature with calm, loving people to center yourself around. Accept every feeling and thought you have. They're totally normal and safe. Take one day at a time and go easy on yourself. Confusion, forgetfulness, clumsiness are all part of this stage. And let me tell you, I don't even think this is even part of my stage. I think this is part of my life right now. I'm getting old and I have all those. So I'm not even sure if it's the grief or if it's just getting old. The grieving will end when it's ready, and we will hopefully be on that end of this COVID cycle. I'm not going to lie. It's probably going to be like another 6 months to a year, but we got to just relax when we can, express our griefs, and allow people to come in and talk. You guys need to talk it out if you don't feel well. All right, I really want to end with this one. And this is one that I really feel passionate about because this is one that gets me unmotivated and where I stay in this really big standstill. It's called burnout. I attract overachieving type A people. As a recovered, not even, I'm still type A. I wish I was recovered. I also burn my candle at both ends. I know sometimes as a type A, we're banging out on all the things we want to get done, even if you're exceeded your limit and what's sustainable. Like maybe you feel like, I'm going to keep going. I have this on my list to get done today. It's on my calendar. I know I need to do it. But if you're tired all the time, you've lost your energy for socialization, the idea of taking a snooze sounds way more compelling than other stuff you're interested in, then you've probably pushed yourself too long and too hard, and now you're burnt out. Yourself will always work to motivate you to move toward what you need most. So if you're burned out and you need sleep, yourself may even sap that motivation from things that you usually ignite yourself on fire. You get excited just to meet your needs that you need, which is sleep. So, how do you get motivated again? Sleep. It sounds crazy, but it is. And it sounds like something so simple, even if it's a cat nap, 1 hour, that can energize you, make you feel like you were back to normal. And I'm going to tell you, a month ago, I was burnt out and I really needed to get myself back in order. I couldn't figure out what's going on. It's because I'm doing too much. I have too many things on my plate and I need to cut down, and I already know that, and I'm working on it as I speak. When you get done with your sleep, let's just say you take a nap. When you get done sleeping, your quality of thinking will be restored. You can check back in with yourself about what's most important to you. Start building that sustainable way to do more of what's important to you. So always focus on how you feel, what your body needs, and always listen, because that is super, super important. If you want to keep your motivation flowing steadily throughout all stages of your projects, take time to create clear plans, schedule them out, and focus on yourself, what you really want. Be clear. Take those next steps. If you are burnt out, take care of yourself. Do what feels good for you. These are all the tips that I can be helpful for you right now. If you have any other comments or anything else you want to add, please comment below on this blog. I would love to hear more of what helps you feel motivated. Thanks for listening, you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, our next thing we want to talk about is our values and conflict. Your values are what's important to you in life. If you have values that have conflict, it means that there are two or more values that are important to you, but you believe that you can't satisfy all those values in one particular situation. The situation causes you to feel conflicted and pulled in different directions as we try to find ways to get what's really important to you. We also have brief spurts of movement and motivation to work on something, and we lose that motivation and start working on something else, or your motivation might dry up because another effort of dealing with internal conflict quickly tires you out and saps your energy.